What's up, guys? I hope you're doing well in real life and in the game. Guys, it's finally time to raid the Spider's Den for the Tea Party Titan event, but there's a catch. You can only do it with Corrupted Alliance champions. That means factions Demon Spawn, Undead Hordes, Dark Elves, and Knights Revenant. Now, there's a lot of good options there. There's actually a huge number of different strategies and teams you can do with those factions. I'm going to get into what I'm using and more right after this. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you as always for joining me. We're going to talk about the Spider's Den for this event that you need to do to get teacup points for the Tea Party Titan event and get those awesome rewards, including the Cat's Gaze and the Mad Hatter's 5-star Perfect Soul. Guys, let me unpack one thing real quick for anybody who doesn't know about where you should raid for this event in the Spider's Den dungeon. You probably will have heard multiple different stages mentioned in different contexts, so I'm going to talk about where you need to be raiding for this event, guys. It's stage 20. All right, so you can go above stage 20, but you're actually going to spend more energy for the amount of tournament points you get. So set aside the accessories and the drop rates and just look at the tournament points you get. The best bang for your buck is stage 20. All right, so also if you go 21 and above, you end up with a little bit of interference to what you can do for a speed team comp, because you get an enemy max HP cap, and as we all know, Coldheart is a very, very well-known spider champion. She's very effective in this dungeon. You also have a much faster boss, a much tankier boss, and it's going to overall make the runs less reliable and longer if you're above stage 20. If you can't do stage 20, guys, that's okay. And if you have a cracked out account and you can do this faction restriction in hard mode, go for it, because you have a better chance at keeping the accessories, getting mythical accessories. That's a good deal all around. But for the average player, it's going to be really good to stick with stage 20. Now, guys, if for some reason you've been really unlucky with your pulls from those factions, or your gear is just not up to snuff and you can't do stage 20, definitely don't give up on the event and don't sweat it, guys. You can drop down, I would say try to drop down to 17 if affinity is not an issue for you, then maybe drop down to 16. If you go any lower than that, maybe even skip 16 and just go to 10, because 10 has a disproportionate ratio of giving you 5-star accessories, so that's good for points. Like, you're probably not going to keep any 5-star accessories, or at least not mediocre ones. Probably get rid of most of them, but the point is getting more 5-star accessories and not risking getting some 4-star ones, or at least having a higher chance to not get those 4-star ones, is going to get you more points toward the tournament, because that's how the points are determined, is like the rarity and the rank of the accessory that drops when you raid that dungeon. With that being said, guys, let's get into my team and I'll explain it, and then I'll talk to you about a couple other options that I can think of off the top of my head, because there's so many with these factions, guys. So as you may have noticed, this is an arena aura in my leader spot, but I don't have any auras on anyone but Lydia and Kymar, and neither of theirs are for dungeons or for all battles. They're both for arena, so I just put Kymar there. It doesn't matter at all. So what my team is going to do is Kymar is in my PvP build, Lydia is in my PvP/Doom Tower build. One of the Coldhearts I just rebuilt, because I had not rebuilt her in forever, since I have a different Burn Explosion team, and then I have a enemy max HP team for hard mode spider, so my Coldhearts have not been getting a whole lot of love on my account in a while, but I did rebuild her faster and about the same crit damage in lethal. And then my secondary Coldheart here, that's not even 6-star, you can see her there 550 with a 1-star blessing that I didn't even pick a blessing for her. She's basically just there to make sure that if there's like a 5 to 10% window where the Coldheart that's in lethal doesn't actually hit the spider for 50%, it just makes the run safer. As you can also see, I have, what is this, Hound Spawn right here? He don't do nothing, guys. He doesn't have any gear on. That's a food champion. One note on this kind of a tournament: when you have a restriction, guys, if you don't think you're going to remember this, just leave the slot empty, because you're going to be sick if you spend hundreds or thousands of energy and you mess this up. You have to make sure the food champion is the same faction restriction. So it has to be one of the 4 corrupted. It has to be a demon spawn food champion, or undead hordes, or dark elves, or knights revenant. If it's not, it's going to ruin the whole thing, and it's not going to count towards the tournament. So make sure you emphasize that, guys, and trust me, if it's even a 30% chance that you think you'll forget, just leave the slot empty. It's better that way. It's not worth the minimal champion training points you're going to get if you were to forget. But basically, now that I've gone over the builds a little bit, Kymar is the fastest champion. He's going to go with his A1 just because it's that or his A2, which is asleep, and Lydia is immediately going to wake everyone up, so the sleep just doesn't really make sense. As you know, Kymar's A3 is a full team reset. We're going to utilize that. Then Lydia goes second. Lydia is going to throw out her decreased defense and weaken on everybody, and actually at the same time give the team increased speed, which will help a little bit. And then the first Cold Heart, the 660 Cold Heart, is going to go, and she's going to hit the spider for about half of its HP on her Heartseeker A3 ability. Then the second Cold Heart's going to hit the spider for about 15% maybe, or 10%, something like that. Like I said, she just does a bit of damage to make sure the run is safer. Then I don't even think Houndspawn gets to go at all in this team. Kymar is going to go again, as he's the fastest champion, and he's going to fully reset the team plus turn meter boost by 30%. Lydia is going to go again. I believe I'm going to have my Lydia do her A1 because just in case anything happens, like the 3% to resist, the weaken when Lydia puts out decreased defense and weaken or something like that. If Lydia uses her A1 and you have her in the mastery, I can't remember the name of it, that pushes back turn meter the first time you hit an enemy with the A1, if she uses her A1, then she'll actually hit the spider, and if something had gone wrong, that'll give you a little bit more time before the spider's turn meter is full. Then the first Cold Heart goes again, and for me that's it. The spider's dead at that point. Now let's go ahead and show you the run. Kymar A1 to start off. Once all the spiderlings are down, Lydia A2, debuffing everyone, Heartseeker, reset, A1, hit the food champion, Heartseeker, and done. Now, there's a chance that you could actually end it after just 4 turns if you have a 660 Cold Heart who hits as hard or harder than this one does, because as you saw, she hit for about what looked like 45-ish%. But for me, I don't really want to 6-star. I really don't want to rank her up right now. It's just kind of a resource thing, and I'm low on that, and I have other champions that I want to rank up. So anyway, I just make it work with the 550 because the only thing you really miss out with a 550 is on the banner, and Cold Heart doesn't really get anything but speed out of the banner. I mean, it does give her stats, but for a team like this where she's just going to go, she's not even going to need to survive for any amount of time, she doesn't need the banner. So yeah, that's my I am too cheap to rank up a second Cold Heart, and it gets the job done. Now I will show you guys what the presets are, so that you can screenshot it if you need to or whatever. But basically, Prince Kymar, opener A1. This doesn't need to really be touched, but to make sure that you say prioritize Seal of Magic at priority 1, because I have seen him just randomly do Abyssal Gaze whenever Seal of Magic is available and not on cooldown in the Spider's Den. I don't know why. Then Lydia is going to have opener set for Siren's Wail. You don't have to turn this off, but this is how you would make her do her A1. This I would turn off because it's definitely better for her to do her A1 in my opinion than that skill. Plus that will slow your run down because it's a 2-hitter with a kind of slow animation. So opener for Siren's Wail. Then if you turn it off, when Kymar resets, she'll just do an A1 because all her other skills are turned off after the opener. Then Cold Heart is just set priority 1 to Heartseeker. Same thing here. And that's it, guys. Now, there's a couple other options I could think of. You do have some burners. You have, what's his name? Prince Kymar's lookalike brother. Let me go look. I forgot his name. Tyrant, whatever the fuck that is. Ixlamore? I guess it's not that hard. It just kind of looks weird when you look at it. He is a burn champion that could be used because he fits within the factions. Drang is another burn champion. So you could definitely bring, and if you have Duchess, she's obviously in the Demon Swan as well. There's ways to bring methods of sustain if you can't do a speed team or you don't have the gear or the champions, whatever, to do like an enemy max HP faster team. You can definitely bring a sustain team, maybe bring some freezes and kill the spider by just burning it out. That's actually a pretty viable way to do it. I did actually try and then realize that it was stupid because there's an affinity problem to use Sissia. She does work great in the spider, but the problem is that spider at spider 20 is green affinity or spirit affinity, and so she has a really hard time not weak hitting pretty consistently across runs, and it just ruins the run, so it's just not worth it. Using the Cold Hearts that just hit for enemy max HP, and you don't have to worry about them weak hitting because their void affinity is just a better bet. So you have some options if you're really hurting for some stun champions with some turn meter mechanics like Nethril. In this faction, you have UDK obviously can do some work, not really to kill the spider, but he could definitely help, tank for your team with the spiderlings. That he's actually like incredibly useful for that because of his passive where single target hits are redirected to him. You could just have him mad slow and stone skin and never have to worry about the spiderlings the whole time. And then let me see if there's anybody really in here. Two more does a little bit of turn meter work if they're at half HP. So like if you're desperate, you could definitely use him for something like that. Drang is the MVP here, definitely can't be resisted because of that fact. He does not have the 3% chance to get resisted, which just might slow down your run by a couple ticks, and he doesn't need accuracy on that ability since it can't be resisted. But basically guys, that was my team and kind of the mechanics that I'm using. You definitely could use a Renegade, I believe, based on Cold Heart's cooldowns in this team instead of Kymar. And she does fit within the faction restriction, which is awesome that you get both, right? That you get the two main reset champions, Renegade and Kymar. Lydia can be any decreased defense and weakened champion. You can speed up the run, like I said, by having your second Cold Heart a lot beefier than mine, or making everybody faster. So like none of the spiderlings get a chance to go. We'll speed it up. But just keep in mind that if you don't use Lydia, you need to pick somebody that falls within the acceptable factions, because I kept forgetting that, slotting in one champion. I was like, this champion's perfect for a speed run, and then going, they can't do it because they're an orc or whatever. But she does bring the increased speed, so that will speed up the champions that go after her a little bit, and it stays up for the entire fight until the spider's dead once she puts it up. So just keep that in mind, because that will require you, it's a 30% increased speed, right? So if you don't have that and you use a different debuffer, then the Cold Hearts would probably need to be significantly faster to not start taking a lot of spiderling hits, which will both make your run riskier because Cold Hearts are usually really squishy, and it'll make it take a lot longer. But anyway guys, that's what I'm going to be farming. Hope that was helpful. Hope that gave you a little bit of clarity on what stage to do for sure, although that's fairly common knowledge if you watch any videos on stuff like this. And I'm wishing y'all the best of luck, guys. Get out there. Maybe a few of you will get a chance at winning the whole tournament, but at least go get that the Void Shard, I think, at the top after you get those teacup points, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.